Why are we so quiet?
Well, I'm on hotel Wi-Fi, and Josh is in a cave. So
I'm out of the
therefore,
cave.
I thought maybe I'd done something wrong, like, oh, this is obviously not working.
you're in the stables.
Nice. That's where I like to be.
Oh, here we go.
Here we go.
Here we go.
We're doing an AMA.
We need we need? We really need an AMA theme song.
Yes.
It would
We
be,
do.
like at the beginning of every AMA, we play the song, and it's totally like one of those, introduction to a cartoon type theme songs. That's what we need.
I think it's a great idea. I mean, it worked so well for Magical Crypto Friends. We should just, do the same thing.
Well, who did that?
Samson, one of Samson's friends, I think.
Okay, can they become our?
Magical AMA. No,
Can,
doesn't really work.
Can they become our friend?
I don't see why not. I mean, Samson would love to know that that Josh is working so closely on this, and
He would be thrilled.
he would be ecstatic.
Yeah. I've got our first question, but first off, I want to welcome everyone who's joined us to the Yat Founder AMA. I am joined by Naveen and Ricardo, our fearless Yat founders and noted emoji enthusiasts. So the way this will work is there's a tweet pinned to the top here. Please reply to that tweet with any and all questions you have, and I will relay them to our esteemed founders here.
Oh boy.
I also just want to put send a shout out to Barney the boy for taking some time out of his very busy schedule of flirting with girls on Tinder to attend this.
Shout out Barney the boy. He's the master of AMAs, so I'm sure he'll have some good questions.
I don't even know what to say to that. But how about the first question?
So our first question is, when NFT?
Look, we like non-functioning trombones as much as the next person, but this demand for it needs to stop. We will have non-functioning trombones as soon as we've A, acquired the trombone, B, broken it so that it is no longer functioning. We're struggling with A at the moment.
There's a trombone shortage, it turns out.
Yeah.
The pandemic has caused many wide-ranging effects that were unpredictable, and one of those effects happens to be a shortage of trombones.
Very sad.
Very, very sad. I feel sorry for marching bands everywhere.
Can confirm. I was trying to order a trombone for my apartment, and the back order's insane.
They shipped you a bed instead.
They shipped me a bed, and it's the wrong size. It's a crib. Classic.
Okay, so in all seriousness, so we are working very hard on enabling yacht creators to mint their yachts as NFTs. So our goal is for this feature to launch towards the end of this month. That is our goal, and that's a goal that we stated in our Cloud 35 announcement video, and we are reaffirming for y'all here. I will say that there's a fair amount of complexity with what we are trying to do here. So a little reveal for everyone here. So what we are doing is we really want yacht creators to be able to showcase their yachts in the most beautiful possible way. And so we're building this really, really amazing tool called the Yat Visualizer. And the way the Yat Visualizer works is it's a WebGL application that will enable you to customize from like a spectrum of options a procedurally generated visualization for your beautiful Yats. And what we are doing is we're pairing the launch of the visualizer with the launch of NFT minting. And the reason why is because we really want Yats to just be beautiful across all platforms, across all systems possible. And we want to really double down on this idea that Yats are an art form and Yats are self-expression. So something we think a lot about, and we've talked about this in previous AMAs, is we think a lot about what does identity actually mean? You know, if we really take a step back and you think about identity in real life, you know, think about all the beautiful ways that as humans we express our identities, you know, through the clothes we wear, the friends we keep, the jobs we choose to do, the places we choose to live, the sneakers we have, the cars we drive, the sports teams we love. Like these are all expressions of our identities, and they're all beautiful. On the internet, how do we express identity in the most beautiful possible way? And obviously, everyone here knows the answer, or our answer, our perspective on this answer is that Yats are certainly a far more beautiful way to express yourself. But we think that as people start to mint Yats as NFTs and express themselves even more with Yats, we want to come up with even more ways for them to do so. And so, in addition to launching minting of Yats, starting on EVM compatible chains, specifically one chain, which will likely end up being Ethereum, as people might imagine. We're also going to be launching this amazing visualizer tool, which we're super excited to share with all of you and to get your feedback on. So that was my long-winded answer.
That I think that's the first time you've leaked this visualizer. Maybe that hotel minibar is working magic on you.
I've got to stop drinking the hotel minibar vodka. I just have to stop.
I've been trying to hint at this for like months through a series of cryptic tweets. I just keep forgetting to post them.
Well, yeah. So, the time is coming near, and we always want to do our best to share things as they develop with our incredible community. And so I think the time is right for everyone to know where this is going.
So I've got a
visualizer.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, please.
No, that was it. I had nothing more to say. I agree.
I've got a related question from our friend Yat Reviews, who wants to know any timing on an update for the secondary marketplace.
That's much harder. I think as everyone's aware, when we build things, we build them well, and they're beautiful, and they work extremely well, and everything that we build within the Yat universe is designed to go or to eventually operate in a decentralized environment. And so that means that with stuff like a marketplace, there's lots of things that we're thinking about, like, how are people going to want to use their Yats in future when Yats exist on Tari? And so that gives us pause, because marketplaces seem simple, but they can be extremely complex, especially when it comes to surfacing things. Like, do you want to just walk into a Walmart of Yats and walk down corridors of hundreds of thousands of Yats and not really know, like, not really be able to have cool ones surface? Or do you want something that's a little bit more geared towards your interests and aligned with what you're searching for? So these are challenges that we're trying to meet. And frankly, like, Naveen can speak, can give his view as well. But I'm of the opinion that with NFT minting, we kind of solve a lot of, or at least handle some of the things that trying to do on the marketplace side. And so the marketplace becomes slightly less important than all of the other incredible things that we're trying to build for people to use their yachts. That's not to say that, we're taking our foot off the gas pedal on it, but there's this like hyper focus on yachts being useful, which is, at least I think, more important than yachts being this like weird thing that people are selling.
Yeah, I completely agree. Our mission is to build the best self-directed, self-sovereign form of identity on Earth. And so that's obviously our focus. As Rick pointed out, when you can mint a yacht as an NFT, then you will be able to list that yacht on marketplaces. So we imagine that marketplaces will naturally spring up around yachts elsewhere. And that may not be necessarily like the ultimate user experience that we imagine, but we think it's a really strong start. And so it also gives us collectively as a community an opportunity to build relationships with other communities out there that we have a lot of respect for and that we love and appreciate deeply, and other platforms that we feel that way about. We have many, many friends in this beautiful non-functioning trombone ecosystem, a bunch of people who want to desperately play their trombones, but just can't find a working trombone out there in the world. And so we think this is also a great opportunity for us to build relationships and play really well with others. And so I think when minting goes live, then we imagine that marketplaces will naturally spring up, and that will certainly be in service to yacht creators who want to buy, sell, resell, transfer, trade some of their yachts or all of their yachts, their choice.
I've got a question from our friend Joseph Skews, which I think this has come up before. How will managing yacht pages / URL forwarding work once we go live? For example, will you be able to, if you don't have a yacht account and you buy a yacht NFT on OpenSea, do you have to create one with an email address to manage that yacht, or can you connect with MetaMask and sign to do that?
So the way we're approaching it right now is yes, you will need to create an account with an email address. I mean, at the end of the day, email addresses are really easy to create privately. There are a bunch of really good services I can recommend, like Proton Mail and Tutanota. So, using Yat in a sort of semi-privacy preserving way is certainly possible if you want to go down that path. But I don't want to be disingenuous there, because Yats are currently centralized, and this doesn't change that. It's still like the source of truth is still Yat, the centralized system. There's no pretense here about like, oh wow, now we've decentralized things. There's still a lot of work that we need to do in order to get to a point where we can pat ourselves on the back and say Yats are now decentralized.
I concur.
Naveen, it sounds like the cat is out of the bag with the visualizer, and now there's a bunch of visualizer questions.
Oh, well,
Oh
great.
boy.
So these are good questions though. Once
Yeah.
you customize your yacht with the visualizer, can subsequent owners of the yacht change that visualization?
Oh yeah, this is a great question. So we've thought a lot about this, and we're so excited just to see what everyone does with this. It's just like one of these little magical things we've been working on for a very long time, and it's just like getting closer and closer by the day to being production ready. And I'm personally just like giddy to see what this amazing yacht community chooses to do with it. But yeah, so one of the sort of visions here, core elements of our vision, is that yachts are about self-expression, and every yacht creator chooses to express themselves in their own way. So in our view, it wouldn't really make a lot of sense to create a world where someone, say, acquires a Yat on a third-party marketplace or something, and then not give them the ability or the opportunity to create their own visualization for that Yat. Because then otherwise they're really buying someone else's expression of that Yat, and it's not really theirs. And so that feels very contrary to our mission and contrary to how we view the world in terms of Yats being identity and Yats being this beautiful art form and Yats being a really incredible form of self-expression. So the answer to the question is yes. If you acquire a Yat in a secondary context in some way, you will absolutely be able to change the visualization for that Yat.
Excellent.
I concur. Sorry.
Well said, Rick.
I know. Just wanted to make sure I had, gotten my word in there.
A related question about the visualizer is, how will we be able to share it? Will this be a GIF, a video, a link?
Right click, download.
I own your NFT now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the output of the visualizer is actually going to be loopable videos. So that's going to be the output of the visualizer. So you'll be able to, there's lots of things we're working on around, what are the dimensions of the video? Like, are there multiple dimensions of the video? Like, how do we really enable people to share their visualizations on a wide range of platforms? There's a whole bunch of things that we're carefully thinking through, and we're probably not going to be able to launch all of the things we want to launch at the initial launch of the visualizer. That's just the nature of things. But all that being said, the output of the visualizer is a loopable video.
Sweet. Our friend Secretariat wants to know if there's any update on a fix to the dashboard for those with lots and lots of Yats, for mobile specifically.
Yes, Secretariat, we feel your pain on this front. It is a work in progress. It turns out that the code base for this element of Yat is actually fairly complex, and so we are working through it. I believe that there is an update being pushed next week that may solve some of these challenges, but I don't believe it will solve all of these challenges. So I think what we would love your feedback on is, after we push an update next week, which we'll be informing the community about on Discord, when it's out there, and I'm pretty sure it's next week.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's next week. So let's just say that we're 90% sure that this is part of what's being pushed next week, and we would love your feedback after this update is out there, and would love to hear how it works for you and how it works for other Yat creators with larger Yat collections. But we feel your pain, and we apologize that it's taken us some time to resolve this particular issue. It turns out that it's fairly thorny, and we are working on it expeditiously.
Yeah, I think we've been kind of surprised by people having like these huge, expansive collections of Yats, and I think we knew that people would love Yats, or we suspected it, but we didn't realize people would love Yats that much, and there's been these incredible trends like adoptables where people have just wanted to get so many different adoptables, and that's been really cool to see especially the creativity and the ingenuity. But of course, we're like woefully unprepared for some of the larger collectors out there. So we're catching up, and we're doing our best to make sure that the way we're building this out is A, robust, and B, will work extremely well when Yats move to Tari.
Very nice. I have a question from Edgar, who wants to know, what is your favorite emoji? And before you answer that, another friend of ours says, apart from your own Yat.
Because I was going to say the horse head, but I mean, got me there, hey.
Go ahead, Rick.
I don't know.
You're up
I think
first.
so. Okay, so you know the screaming face, like it's got like the hands on either side of the face, and normally it's like, like blue at the top, and officially that means the official meaning of that emoji is face screaming in fear, and I tend to use it as like a shocked face a lot. I'm like, oh, and then I do that emoji, like in texting or whatever. And I think if anyone, either there are a bunch of people who are like, why is he so fearful all the time? Why does he scream so much? Or people are just understanding what I'm putting down.
So I like I really love the magical animal yats or emojis like dragon and unicorn. Like I just think they're so cool, and I think that they say so much about a person when they're being used in sort of a yat context. Like someone being a fire dragon, or someone being, you know, a unicorn, rainbow, anything. It's just like really freaking cool to me. I don't know. I really love those particular emojis and those types of emojis and the whole idea of just being able to think in really, sort of like creative, sort of emotional ways around emoji, especially as it relates to, like magical creatures.
Beautiful answers. I've got a question from Platts, which is how will this work with other EVMs? If you mint a non functioning trombone on one blockchain, how does that work relative to minting on other chains in the future? And what would happen in the event that you transfer or want to go to a different chain?
So
There's
great
also a
questions.
related question about Tari.
Okay, so great questions. I think to be very clear, we're pretty chain agnostic when it comes to this. We want people to be able to mint their Yats on pretty much anything where there's a reason to. Um, of course, it requires that we actually go and deploy and test and so on each of those platforms. So we're obviously not going to go and do that on everything. We simply don't have the bandwidth and the capacity. So I, like starting with Ethereum makes sense, but there's a bunch of other stuff that we're looking at, or a number of other chains that we're looking at the moment. Not just EVM compatible chains. We're big fans of Liquid and Stacks and other things out there, and we want to make sure that Yats are mintable in them too. So it really just comes down to like, do we have the bandwidth to deploy it and test it even in the case where it's like a straight up ETH clone, like BSC, we still would want to make sure that it's properly supported in that ecosystem and works across the board, and that is like a fair amount of effort. And there's of course the security aspect of it too. So I think if there are particular chains that you want to see supported, please let us know. Um, like apart from the few that I've mentioned there, anything else, Phantom, Solana, Tron, anything else that you want to see supported, let us know. And then it really helps just guide and direct where we exert effort into building this out. Oh, and then that related question about how it would move. Yeah, so if you had a Yat minted on one chain, so if you minted a Yat on like Ethereum, and then you decided that where you really wanted to mint it was liquid assets, then the Yat on Ethereum would have to be destroyed before you could mint it on a different chain. And we're not even at the point yet where we've built out any of the multi-chain tools. So we're very cognizant of the fact that it can get like complex and annoying for users. So we're trying to do that in a way where it's relatively easy and where we handle a lot of that complexity rather around destroying it on the one chain and minting it on the other. So that's kind of where we're at with that. But as we start to play around with the multi-chain stuff more, then we'll of course try and open it up for users to test with as well, so that we can gain a bit of experience and insight.
Great. I've got a question here from Yatman and Robin, who wants to know if there's any update on Yats's wallet addresses.
Yeah, totally. So, we're working with a wide range of awesome sort of wallets and exchanges out there in the world to integrate Yat. And so what we're thinking a lot about is just the user experience behind this. Is it just as simple as a lookup function for a wallet to say, okay, here's a Yat, and let's look up and see what the Bitcoin address is, or Ethereum address, or whatever address the particular creator wants to associate with their given Yat? Or is there something more here around how a Yat creator can manage the addresses associated with their Yats, and if they want to use multiple wallets, for example, if they have something they prefer for, say, Bitcoin, and then they have something else that they prefer for, say, Ethereum, how do some of these things work? And so what we've done is we've essentially created a framework, a UX framework for how these integrations really, in our view, should work. And we're working very closely with partners like Opera and others to integrate Yat lookup into their wallets. And as those come online, then it will enable, we'll be able to enable Yat creators to be able to use their Yats as their wallet addresses, assuming they want to use or are open to using those wallets that are sort of launching this functionality first. But our goal ultimately is, we really want Yat creators to be able to use their Yats in any way they want to, right? It's really, in our view, up to the creator how you choose to use your Yat. And so, it's definitely going to take some time to get more and more and more of this sort of wallet providers or exchanges, et cetera, to integrate Yat. And to us, that's perfectly okay. It's just, this is more of a journey. It's going to take a little bit of time, but there will definitely be some early partners coming online in the relative near future that will enable Yat creators to do this exact thing.
Yeah, I agree. I was like, I had something to say, and then my brain was like, no, you don't.
Really well said, Rick.
Thank you.
That was
Thank
great.
You. I'll be here all week.
Yeah. I've a very hard-hitting question, which I'm sure many creators and eager storytellers in our community are wondering, which is, when new emojis?
Yeah, really great question. So, we got a lot of feedback from the creator community when we did the last emoji drop, so a couple months back. And there was sort of, it appeared to us that there was sort of split feedback. So on one hand, there was feedback from community members or creators who were not as much of a fan of the idea that now the total population size or total number of Yats that could possibly exist mathematically were increasing within a generation, because they felt that was potentially dilutive to the Yats that they're creating. And then there was another sort of side to the conversation, which was that, okay, well, adding new emojis just increases the expression, the self-expression capability of Yats. And ultimately, Yats are an identity system. So it only benefits the ultimate vision of Yat to enable Yat creators to express themselves in as many ways humanly possible. So what we decided to do is really only focus new emoji drops around generation transitions. And so I guess now there's another cat that's sort of out of the bag here, which is that there is a forthcoming emoji drop tied to the beginning of generation 1. So there will be no new emoji drops in generation 0. Generation 0 is fixed. whatever the emojis are that we have in the Yat set today are the emojis that will be available for generation 0. And there will be new emojis that will enter the Yativerse with the beginning of generation 1.
Pretty exciting. I'm waiting for the
Dun,
flood
dun,
of
dun,
questions of
dun.
which emojis, but I'll wait for those to come. I've got a question from our friend Delegats, who wants to know when fast Yat search on mobile.
When fast Yat search on mobile, or just when fast Yat search generally.
In
When
general.
fast Yat search.
Yeah, when fast Yat search. That's a really good question. So we've been seeing more feedback from the community around this concept of being able to search for Yats. And so I guess this is something we need to think a little bit more about, how this ultimately will work as it relates to privacy. We firmly believe that Yats should always be self-directed. So a Yat creator should be able to create a Yat and then be able to disclose only on their own, to whoever they want that they have that Yat. That shouldn't be something that's like system directed in any way, shape, or form. So I think what we need to do in terms of like Yat search is really think through some of the implications like that, to really make sure we're honoring our core values as it relates to Yat. But I definitely see value in this idea of Yat search personally. Like I totally can see how it could be really interesting and really cool to see other creators who are creating Yats that are perhaps similar to yours in some way, or Yats that are tied to a particular type of interest and who those creators are and all those kinds of things. So I could definitely see value in that, but we would only want to do that in a manner that is like deeply respectful of Yat creators' like ultimate privacy. So that's just something that we need to like think more about. So we don't really have an update on this particular feature idea at this moment in time, but we definitely think there's a lot of merit to this idea, and so it's something that warrants a lot more discussion.
So I've got actually a really interesting question here. On these AMAs we see a lot of feature requests often, but you don't usually see security questions. So I want to give this some light. Are the emoji URLs hosted by Yat? And if so, how would you prevent a major DDoS attack by someone trying to take down the service?
I guess this is my time to shine.
There you go. Yeah, this is you.
So that's a good question. Yes, yes and no. If you're using y.at, so like, let's say you use it as a link on Twitter, then it has to hit our servers. But if you're using it in something like Opera, as I'm sure you've noticed, you don't use any y.at when you're using Opera. So that doesn't touch like the y.at DNS front-end resolution stuff at all. So from that perspective, that's the no, and that's really where we want to get like all our integrations to the point where they're not using the y.at domain. In terms of the second question, could someone DDoS it? I mean, we're pretty good at designing stuff that can't be taken down that easily. In its simplest form, we've managed to keep the Monero website running for the past like 6 years, and it's not been DDoSed offline. We have great experience in building this stuff, and all of our backend stuff is written in extremely fast languages like Rust. We take great advantage of things like Lambda functions. We have an extremely powerful WAF in front of it, and we use anti-DDoS services as well. So I think, of course, people will try, and they're welcome to, but it's very unlikely that they're going to be able to take us offline for any significant period.
Beautiful. Thank you, Rick.
I concur.
Naveen, well said. Beautifully said. I've got a question from our friend Yat Museum who wants to know how many Yatters exist. Can you give us a hint at the number of Yats in existence to date?
Yeah. Rick, do you want to reply to this one, or you want me to dive on in here?
You can dive on in.
Okay. Um, so there are tens of thousands of Yat creators, and there are fast approaching 100,000 Yats that have been created so far in just over 5 months. So the Yat community is growing very rapidly, and we feel very, very lucky and very blessed, very honored to be in service to the Yat community. So those are some rough numbers for you on sort of size and scope of Yat community.
Nice. I know that's a frequently asked question. Oh, and the questions about the new emoji drop have begun coming in. So this is a good one. With the new emojis dropping in Gen 1, will there be a draw or something similar to help level the playing field for high demand Yats like repeaters?
Yeah,
Huh.
so
Yeah,
go.
this is an area of constant discussion. We're very aware that that there are a lot of people who want to get combinations like 3 of a kind and 4 of a kind, or the I Heart series, or like those sort of like high rhythm score combinations, and it's of course it's challenging because we don't want to just like drop it in and fastest fingers first, and if you happen to be asleep, well, tough for you. So we're very cognizant of that. We are continuing to ideate on ways to make it more fair than like the person who managed to click a button fastest and was on a low latency internet connection managed to get it. Um, at the same time, we also don't really want to have like a 18-hour auction. That's not fun either. So there are lots of dynamics that we're thinking about, and lots of possible ways of handling this. And I think we're like we saw with the previous emoji drop where we got really good feedback on it. This is an experiment. We're going to continue to play and experiment with certain ideas. And if we try something and it doesn't work, then we'll learn from that, and the next time will be better. And we'll continue to iterate on this until we have something that, I mean, we're not going to please everyone, but we want to get to a point where we're happy that this is in service to our creators.
Yeah, totally. I mean, as Rick said, we really want to make Yat as inclusive and fair as possible. Um, so it's just something we think a lot about. We have conversations, every week about this particular topic, and the entire Yat Labs team is throwing ideas into the ring all the time. And what I can say is that we will be running a slightly evolved experiment around sort of this next emoji drop. So as Rick said, it's an experiment, and we're excited to hear all of your feedback, whether it's good or whether it's bad. We grow through hearing your feedback, and that's what enables us to make Yat better and better and better for all Yat creators. So we really deeply appreciate everyone's feedback and everyone's patience as Yat continues to develop.
Beautiful. I've got a question from Yats with Plats who wants to know, would it be possible to add tags to emojis or Yat combinations for 2 reasons? In the future, to assist with searching for a new Yat, and to potentially use a Yat generator to create new Yats based on interests.
So that's really interesting because there are actually every emoji has a name, sort of an official Unicode designation. I think, the idea of essentially creating alternative naming schemes or tags related to emoji is certainly possible. I mean, maybe that's even something that could be crowdsourced, from the community conceivably. I don't know. Rick, what do you think?
Yeah, so we've had a couple of ideas around that because there there are official names and alternate names and names in other languages that we get from Unicode. And obviously like some of those are not like things evolve, right? And they evolve much faster than Unicode's able to update the standards. So I'd certainly love to see some of that functionality built out, and we have some ideas around that, around understanding what people are searching for and how they can suggest things and how we can crowdsource suggestions for better names, or not even just better names, just alternate names. And I go back to that scream emoji. The only reason that I know it's a scream emoji is because I've tried various combinations of like shock face, gasp. None of those work, and it's scream. But if if I had a way as a user to submit these alternate names and we were able to gather them into a pool, then we would and do so in a way that is still privacy preserving, because that's very important to us as well. Then yeah, absolutely. I think there's some cool stuff that we could do.
Um, I've got a interesting question here. Will Yats be wiped of data upon transfer when they're NFTs? Currently, they're not cleared. In the current system, if I clear it myself, is any data recoverable by the new owner?
So data should be, I mean, your YAT stuff should be cleared on transfer. Um, it should not retain old metadata like YAT page data and so on. If it is, then there's a bug there. So yeah, it's like the idea is that it's cleared on transfer because it's got a new owner, and if that new owner is you, well, that's cool that you're sending it to yourself. Like, great, it's still going to get cleared on transfer. There's no way for us to know that. And more, on the second question, I think that it is like, again, I want to make it clear that YAT is centralized, and of course it's a database, and like uh, as with any good database, there are backups and all sorts of things. So is data recoverable? Yes, but to take it one step further, um, when YATs exist on Tari, if you're using them in a way where you hold your private keys and it's non-custodial, then a lot of that metadata will live on Tari validator nodes, and it will be effectively public, because even if the data was stored in some sort of encrypted fashion, like it's an open lookup system. People need to be able to hit a YAT and get information on it, like what does this YAT point to, and what is the Bitcoin address, or Monero address or Tari address or whatever attached to it. So there's no real way of making the actual that, like, all of the metadata attached to it private. And like any system, if it's been out there once, you have to assume that someone has archived that data, and has it stored somewhere. So even though Tari validator nodes will drop it if you change from a YAT page to a redirect, I mean, they're not going to cache that data or store it indefinitely for no reason. Someone out there will presumably have a copy of it.
Well said. Our friend Stu.eth wants to know, are you planning any new fun features for Yat pages, and also when NFT gallery?
Yeah, so lots of really interesting things in the works around Yat Page. Yat Page is something that we're really excited about at Yat Labs. And there's a lot of time and effort that folks like Kareem and Trevin and Tal and other amazing folks on the Yat Labs team are really like carefully thinking through and and working into specs and ultimately putting into development around Yat Page. So our vision for Yat Page really is to enable a Yat creator to express themselves in a very wide range of ways on the web. And so that includes the idea of being able to showcase things like your NFT gallery. That includes things like being able to show off your favorite playlist on, a given streaming platform. That includes things like showing off, like links that are important to you and much more. So I think the best way to express how Yat Page is going to develop is that it's going to be an evolution, and it's going to take time. So we stated in the Cloud 35 announcement video that our plan is to launch an initial version of the new Yat page, the next generation Yat page, at some point in September. And that's still our stated goal. Will it have all the features we want it to have? Probably not, but will it be a meaningful step in the right direction, or what we hope is the right direction, based on the feedback we're really excited to get from all of you, the Yacht creator community, absolutely. And so that's sort of our point of view on how this is going to develop. But, we definitely want Yacht creators to be able to showcase their NFT galleries on their Yacht pages. We think that's like really, really cool and a really important idea and something that we believe very strongly in. And we're really, really excited about enabling Yacht creators to make their Yacht pages, as beautiful as they and as expressive as they want them to be. And the possibilities there should be ultimately extraordinary for Yacht creators, and that's really our core goal there.
Well said. I know we're running out of time for tonight, but I've got a very important question from Yacht Reviews, which is face yats or repeating yats? Which do you guys prefer?
Face yats all the way. I'm
Wow.
team face.
Team
This is
face.
quick.
Or face team,
Wow.
as we say in the trade.
Man, I'm on the fence on this one. I love just like the rapid fire simplicity of repeaters. Like, they're really beautiful and elegant in that way. But face yachts are just really damn cool. So
Give
split
into
decision.
your face yat desires.
Yeah, so split decision on my end.
Wow. Well, we got a very clear answer from Rick on that one, to say the least. I think we're going to wrap it up, but I want to thank everyone for joining us this evening, and our friends in Australia for joining us this morning. I want to thank Rick and Naveen for your time. Naveen, I know it was hard for you to step away from the hotel minibar for this, but really appreciate you taking the time for it.
There's still vodka left if anyone wants to join.
So that's why you were able to step away.
Oh, yeah. I got my little plastic bottle of vodka right here.
Is there anything else that you guys would like to say, contribute?
I just want to say thank you. Thank you to everyone for making the time for this and for, being such active participants in the Yat community. Yat exists because of all of you. And we feel so lucky to have the opportunity to work on this amazing project in collaboration with you. And, thanks for believing in us. And thanks for creating such beautiful Yats. You all inspire us every single day. And we are working tirelessly to achieve these very important ultimate goals that we hold for Yat. And we can't wait to get there over time with you.
And I think just keep giving us feedback. We love talking to our community and to our creators. Keep giving us feedback. We, it might seem that we're taking a while to to get some of these things out, but it's only because we take such care with them, and we want to build the best possible tools and platform for the people who use it.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. And please stay tuned for the next AMA announcement, which I think will be in 3 weeks.
Thank you, Josh. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a good night, everyone.